Good morning, everyone. Today we want to discuss a story I'm sure you all know and remember. You've probably heard it at church before, or maybe home, or a Bible movie. We want to talk about the great ark that Noah built. Genesis 6 starts our lesson. We learn that the earth began to be populated a great deal. Families had families, and there were many, many people across the land. Unfortunately, friends, these people chose not to serve the God who created them and their beautiful world. They sinned a great deal against God. They chose, like Cain last week, to do horrible things. God had to deal with these people. His heart was breaking. His wonderful creation was destroying the world with sin and evil. God decided to destroy his creation and begin again. The sin they were committing was like a disease, a wicked disease that was hurting and destroying lives. And even worse, the people were choosing to live like this. They could make good decisions, they just didn't want to. So God made his decision to send a great flood across the world. Was everyone in the world bad at that time? No. There was one man who, with his family, obeyed God and served him. He was part of God's family. This man's name was Noah. He had a wife and 3 sons. His sons had funny names, as many people did back then. Their names were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These sons each had wives as well. So how many people were there serving God? 8 people. God told Noah of his plan. He told Noah to build a huge boat called an ark to save himself and his family. He even allowed Noah to tell others so they would have a chance to turn their lives around and become part of the family of God. But not one person listened or changed their ways. The people even laughed at Noah and his sons building a big ark when there was no water in sight. They called him names and talked very badly about him. It must have been difficult for Noah to work so hard every single day, listening to people say hurtful things to him. He knew he was obeying God, but, even when we know we're doing what's right, sometimes what other people say can hurt our feelings or make us question what we're doing. But like Noah, we need to stand strong in our faith in God. Pleasing God is the most important thing. We want to please God more than we should want to please anyone else. Like I said, Noah worked so very hard. Once the ark was complete, God told him to bring 2 of every animal and put them in the ark. 1 boy animal and 1 girl animal. So Noah and his family collected 2 of every animal that was in creation at that time. Maybe lions and dogs, maybe bears, all of them. Birds as well came, 2 by 2. Then, when all was complete, the clouds gathered and the rain began. God shut the large, heavy door of the ark, and the floods gathered around. The ark floated safely atop the water. You guys, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. I love a good rainstorm. I like to read a book or take a nap when it's raining outside. But 40 days is a long time to have nothing but rain for weather. Sometimes, if we don't see the sunshine for many days, we tend to have trouble feeling happy. I bet Noah and his family struggled with that a little bit. Plus, they had all these animals to feed and care for. So, about 10 months passed by. The water slowly began to go down a little bit. Noah sent out a raven, or bird, to see if it would find land. But the raven only flew around the water looking and found nothing. Next, he sent out a dove. But it returned when it could find nowhere else to land either. So they waited a bit longer. At last, Noah sent out a dove again. This time, it returned with an olive branch. What did that mean to Noah and his family? It meant that there was a tree out there, which meant that there was land. When he later sent out the dove, it did not return. The waters receded, and God released Noah and his family and all the animals from the ark to build their new homes. Now, we know that there is much evil in the world today, don't we? We know people make horrible decisions and choose not to obey God. How do we know that God will not send another flood? What reminds us of God's promise not to send another flood? The rainbow. God put a beautiful rainbow in the sky and told Noah that this rainbow was his promise, never again to destroy the world with a flood. And what do we know about God? He always keeps his promises. Genesis 17:7 says, "I will always keep the promise I have made to you and your descendants, because I am your God and their God." God told this to Abraham. As our God, he always keeps his promises, as he did in Bible times. Guys, you remember that I love you and God loves you too. We'll see you next week.